in papaut. Wu kalal ashuk kawun jawaf neye. Anuki kasem in papaut. Wu papaut kawun kasem im neye. Anuki wahu ameh papaut. Wu papaut kawun wahu ameh neye. Nakuk kadur naja. Ameh kasem in papaut. Wu kabub ameh muskas Nakuk kadur kawan kalil pafef. Nakuk arud jawef papaut. Ameh wase. Ameh aradni. Kawun leye. Bakoi jawef papaut. Anuki abed bi ye nefasni. Papaut kawun anuki. Papaut kadur nakuk kadur. Papaut amul nakuk amul. Rahubat. Musyar. I'm coming live today. It's very late and I'm still up. I can't sleep. Um, I don't know if it's because I'm excited or I don't know. But I just think it's only right that I thank those of you who have helped me for many years and those of you who love the master teacher. I just wanted to say thank you, Tawuhkum, to all family, everybody who has ever reached out to help me help Panababianun. I also wanted to say that there are many of you who don't really know me. You don't understand me, and I'm not coming on to try to ex- uh, how do you call it? I'm not coming on to talk about my behavior because I don't regret. There's nothing fake about me. How I feel and what I went through is what I went through. But I'm coming on to thank those of you who have helped me and apologize to anyone that I have ever offended. Now, as far as what I said on Bushwick Avenue, how I feel about Sakina, how I feel about the Tabitjet, how I feel about Waukee, how I feel about Fatima York, how I feel about Shalimar Richardson, how I feel about Teresa Price, who y'all know is Lori's mother, how I feel about Leah Mabry, how I feel about Uma York, how I feel about Ian Bolivar Frank, how I feel about Damon Lovett, how I feel about Damon Pryor, how I feel about Alexander Glenn, Matt Ray, how I feel about Mufida, how I feel about Ian Bolivar Frank's wife, Elvira Patricia Weeks, how I feel about Carlita Gonzalez, how I feel about Carlita Gonzalez's two daughters. You all, and there's more, you all need to understand that this is a real serious spiritual war and that because of who the master teacher is, anyone that steps up to fight to help him, you are the enemy of the devil. So I'm coming live first to thank all of you who helped me and to also say that I apologize. I like to say I'm sorry to those people who I've hurt in the process because I suffer from PTSD. I go through all types of things. There are people that are, I don't know if they get walk-ins, but they've done some really wicked things to me. You understand? And through the grace of the Most High, I have overcome it. So I don't want to ever come off like I'm better than anybody. I don't feel that way. But there are times where I can think like that because of all that I've been through. It can make me feel like nobody cares but me, and that's not true. You understand? But some of you just need to understand, you know, what I've been through. This and understand what the master teacher is going through as well. And those of you who never met Panabab Yanun, as I've said so many times, you read his scriptures, you read his doctrine. This information is written by his hands. And no one has the right to say he's not writing this because he's made it so clear on so many occasions. And I truly think that most of the people that say he's not writing it is because when you read the doctrine, it will expose them. You feel me? So, y'all just need to understand the things that people have done to me intentionally, or sometimes they may know or they may not know, because in the gold book, when we ask our ancestors to forgive us, they say forgive us for things that we know that we done intentionally and things that we don't know, because there may have been things that I've done to other people. I may have offended some of you. Were very kind to me, and I may have offended you, but this is some serious stuff that I went through, and I it's I want to trust people, but it's so hard to trust others, because you try to be kind, you try to be respectful because they're giving money and they're helping, and then they turn around out to be devils, man. I mean, I'm talking about straight wicked people, people that I let in my home, people that I cooked for, that that I thought were my friends. I was so happy when I got to Athens to be home amongst the family again and not be out here in the world. I want to also explain to you all some things that I've seen, some real spiritual, some deep spiritual stuff that I see and that I've seen. First, let me say this, and I believe I did share this with other people before. And before I begin, I want to say the flyer is going to go out. Jacob York is up for exposure. I'm going to work on a flyer within the next over the weekend, and then I'll send it out, because I said I wasn't going to do a flyer, but it needs to be a flyer with his face on it. He needs to be exposed, just like everybody else that was a part of this. But I want to say this: a lot of you, you really don't know me. The person that you see, the person that you hear, the person that's talking to you on my channel is the person that is fighting for Panabab Yanun. So it's like I got on my army fatigues spiritually. I got my I got my rifles, I got my guns, I got my knives. You understand? And I got my mind in war mode. I'm in war mode. So most of the time when you see me talking, it's I'm in war mode. Who I'm not who you all don't really know me. You think you do, but you don't. Like, I'm gonna give you an example. When I first began working to help the master teacher, no, the family wouldn't support me, and I had no way of getting to DC. So there was a few group of people that would put their money together, and then so I would take the money and stay at. Now I had my own apartment in Florida. I was living in Orlando, Florida, and I had my own place. And when I lived in Decatur, I had my own place. When I was in Athens, I had my own place, and I always kept a beautiful home. It's in my genes. My mother's the same way. Always had a nice home. you know and if I had the choice, well, I remember one day a long time ago, the ancestors asked me if I had a choice to have a car or a roof over my head, which would I choose? They gave me a choice. They said, we can get you a car, you can have a fly car, you'll always have a car, or you can have an apartment, a home. And I said, no, I want a home, because as long as I got a roof over my head and I don't have to live with anybody. And I've never been in it. Well, I've been in situations before. Some of them was my fault, from trusting people and moving in with others. But every time I've always had my own place, I've never had a problem with getting my bills done. And, I make my home a sanctuary. You know what I'm saying? And I love being alone, and I'm not a lonely person. I don't feel lonely. Of course, I'm a woman, and I miss the master teacher, and I want us all to come home together. To be on a land free together in Africa, out from under the world. From the devil's world. I was just talking to someone earlier. I think it was yesterday or today, and I said, you come outside from the grocery store, there's somebody standing out there smoking a cigarette. Or you come outside and you smell cigarettes. You walk in, somebody didn't pick up their dog poop. You see all of these disgusting things. You see people kissing in public, and you see lovers holding hands, and so everything, like, this is the land of the free. This is a country where you can do whatever, and it's permissible. you know and so and that's one of the things. Now, one of the things that I loved about Trump, when he was like, how can you all tell a child that it's okay for you to um, choose a gender that you want to be? Their children, they don't even think like that. That's the last thing on their mind, is choosing a gender or making a bathroom a unisex bathroom. Now, one of the reasons why I said that I didn't mind sharing a restroom with a gay, not a gay man, because some men are gay, but they're men. But the ones that change and stuff that really look like women, is because a lot of you don't know this, but a lot of men get raped in bathrooms when they're soft and they're gay. It's because some men are born that way. I remember jumping double dutch with a boy named Pookie, and he used to jump rope with us and everything. He was soft from childhood, and sometimes some young boys get sodomized, raped, and touched, and they're never the same. You understand? And so when they go in bathrooms, men will follow them in the mall and they'll go in the bathroom and they will rape them. But if they're in a bathroom with women, if and a man is seen in the bathroom, that's gonna make us look like, okay, what you doing in here? So I mean it in that way, where I feel like people that are born this way, because homosexuality it falls in categories, and some people are born where they feel feminine, and some women are born where they feel very masculine, or they even look masculine. I was in prison with a girl that had a full beard. She looked like a man, and I looked at her. This was before I knew about right knowledge about the transformation of the woman in the womb, and between the 3 and 6 weeks that the child, if the mother is afraid, the child can have a hormonal effect, and the child can come out um, with two genders. I didn't know that was all about that. But when I saw this girl, she had a full beard and she looked like a man. And I walked up after a while, I was looking at her, me and my homegirl, when I first got to the camp. I said, yo, she looked like a freaking dude, man. But the only thing is you could tell she had breasts. So I walked one time, we was in line waiting for the bell to ring for us to go out to the dining hall to eat. And I said, wow, that's a full beard. And she said, yeah. I said, can I touch it? She was like, yeah. So I took my hand and I went like this, and I said, wow. And everybody that was in standing around, they all started laughing like, oh, Yehuda, you so funny. But she had a real full beard like a man. You understand? So I've grown accustomed, and I grew up in New York City seeing gay people, men and women, and it was nothing to us. Children, their minds are not like that. It's not until they get older and they're influenced by their peers or television or their parents that put these ideas in their head to be concerned about how a person chooses to live. Okay? Now, you have another group of men that are down low, and I don't know, man. The master teacher broke it down to me like this. He said some of them are not good at attracting women, and so they want to go into the woman's world, because they feel like being accepted, or they look at a woman and see that we're powerful, we're having babies, and the way that we talk and we address issues and how we do so many things, and how even though we're very fragile, we're very strong as well. And some of them want to live in our world. You understand? And then you have some men that are, for whatever reason, that's their sexual preference, is to be with men and women. You understand? But in our doctrine, the math teacher says that a man cannot do that to a woman, and a woman cannot do that to a man, that these things should be addressed during the beginning of the relationship. And that's why it's not good to rush into a relationship. You should always take your time and get to know a person. But anyway, so that thing of, I just wanted to clear that up about me, about the bathroom, when I said that I wouldn't mind, because I see those boys, those young boys. Like, I had a friend who was gay, and he was half out here in the West, there are a lot of Mexicans, and he was half black and he was very soft, and I could tell that men would see a guy like that and would want to beat him up, especially people from the islands, because my mother said that they can't come in her country and lay on the beach. They'll kill him. And so there are places where if they do this, behave this kind of way, it wouldn't be respectable. However, we have rules and others have laws. We have rules and regulations that we have to follow. And if in this tribe, and there's a way that the master teacher has set things up for us to live for, of, and by each other, to respect each other, love each other, and help each other. And I think sometimes my energy and the way I come off may be misunderstood. So, like I said, a lot of you really don't know me, and so I'm almost done with my wall, and I do have some sisters that I'm going to expose as well, because I don't appreciate what they did to me, because they participated in some things with some people to attack me. So today, tonight, this evening, or this morning, or this day hour, I wanted to, this shadow hour, I wanted to express myself and tell those of you who did help me, thank you so much. And whether it's in the past or now, but you have to try to put yourself in my shoes sometimes and try to understand where my anger is coming from. Because if you trying to help somebody and you think that, and you're in a community setting with people that beat drums and, you know, and say rahu bad, and you feel this family energy, and then they turn out to be devils, it can be devastating. You understand? Especially when they do things to hurt me in the spirit realm. You understand? And see, I just so happen to be a person that's blessed that, well, not just me, but I can go to sleep, or I can ask my ancestors, show me who it is, tell me who it is, and they'll reveal it to me. And sometimes, like I said, it's heartbreaking, because I'm not a woman, I'm not a promiscuous woman, and I'm not, you know, I'm just different. You understand? I'm from another world, and I say this over and over again. I am from another world, and it's hard to adjust in a place like this. Is a wicked place. You know, it's a beautiful environment. Like some places are beautiful, but the things that's happening is just wicked. So let me explain something to you all. When I first moved in the community, I didn't know who I was. I just knew that I felt different, you know. So, and when I moved in the community, I moved in for spiritual reasons. I left everything, my life, my clothes, jewelry, career, what I was going to become. I was like, no, this is where I belong, you know. And I knew this was where I belong, but I was persuaded and misled by so many people. Like sisters were pushing me to get a mate. I would wear something, they would say, oh, you can't wear that. I had on really nice expensive shoes, and they would say, Baba come out the office and look at my feet and was like, wow, those are, looking at them like I like them. And then I'm thinking, I noticed that he stared at my shoes, and sisters saw him staring at him. And then one of them was like, girl, what you doing with them sneakers on? They were shoe boots, but they were laced up like sneakers. And I paid almost $700 for those shoes, and they blended in with my garb, because at the time when you moved in, the sisters wore brown and we wore veils. And it just blended in with everything. And I took them off and went and put on some other shoes. And then when Baba seen them, he said, those are ugly. And then when I went to go look for the shoes that I took off, they were gone. I don't even know who took them. I don't know what happened, you know. So what happens is, when you first come around and you first come into the doctrine and you're pure in heart and you sincerely like, this is it, this is what I've been looking for all my life, here they come. You understand? And they come in a form of friends. They come in a, like your sister. You, like Baba said, they'll pray next to you and everything. And the Black Devil book lays it all out. And so I felt uncomfortable. And they are good at making you feel uncomfortable, because they're upset that the master teacher picked you to work with him or be around him or gave you a project or whatever. So I'm trying to help you all understand the mentality of these people that you see in this tribe, okay? And I'm a prime example of what can happen, because if it happened to me, it can happen to you too. You're not exempt from being attacked by spiritual beings and spiritual forces. They'll come at you too. So now, let me explain to you what happened. So I moved in. I didn't know who I was. And there was some things that happened spiritually that I'm not to talk about, right? But I met El Cook, who was a being that incarnates in the master teacher. I met Melchizedek. I met Rahama, the one with the red eyes, he was inside of Baba's body. I met Yanun when he just came back from Shambhala. You understand? And these spiritual beings are very real. They're here on the planet, and sometimes you can't see them, but they're here. And if you focus and discipline yourself, you can activate a certain chakra, and you'll be able to see them. But I'm still not ready yet. You know what I mean? But let me explain to you what happened to me. So I moved in a community. I met the master teacher, and I was around the master. And there was times when the whole office, everybody would just fall asleep. And I'm not gonna get into how and why, but we would all just fall asleep. And then Baba, he had ways where he would touch you, or stare at you, or do things that, and it's like if you're true about this information, if you're serious about staying on board and you want to be here, you love to be here, and this is your life, then there is we're okay, how can I explain it? We're in another realm. We're here in Wusabat, but we're in another realm. Not a realm of Wusabat. We're in under the protection of these spiritual, powerful beings from other star systems, right? Different galaxies. And they came together because Baba said the 24 elders is like the police of the universe. Okay? So now I'm going to explain something spiritual to you all so that way you can understand me a little bit, all right? And like I said, I'm coming clean, pure at heart, and I'm grateful and thankful for each and every one of you to help, because you know, there's a lot of you that truly love the master teacher. And guess what? You don't have to, that was wrong for me to say, if you don't send me, help me, support me, don't call me. It's just that some of these people, they reach out to me pretending that they want to help, but they have a whole nother agenda. And now that I've developed myself, I can talk to them, and I get this feeling in my throat chakra, and it hurts me. And I know that I'm talking to a devil. You understand? Okay. And they may not even know they're devils, or some beings may walk into them and say, call her. You understand? And Baba said if they walk-ins, they could walk in you like that without you even knowing. But in order for them to walk inside of you, you have to vibrate low, at a low density. Either be filled with jealousy, negativity. You could either be filled with jealousy, negativity, gluttony, whatever, or you could be a humanoid, just a physical humanoid, because physical people are just physical people. Everything about them is physical. Everything. Food is, you see them on the internet. Everything is about food. Everything is about the physical. It's never about a spiritual awakening or a spiritual life, especially with what's happening in the world. So now, let me explain to you again. I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth. Excuse me, y'all. I got so I moved in a community, and I was never the same again. Never. My whole life changed in the spirit world. My eye opened up, and it was never the same. Even when I left, it was never the same. It was the weirdest experience ever, and the most uncomfortable position to ever be put in. You see? And that's why I always pray and ask the ancestors to don't ever let me ever go back in the world. And I know it seems like it's fun because they show you commercials with them in the cars, laughing, smiling. Please, those are all tricks and to play with your mind to make you think that it's easy. And then when you leave, they got you. You understand? It's a trap. It's a trap. They're trying to do what we're trying to do to them, because the name of the game, because game is, doesn't mean like it's trap. Let's trap the devil. We have to trap him and lure him. Okay? And so now, some of us are very important to Panabab Yanun. And just because he's been in there for so long, it doesn't mean that you don't play an important role in his life. I never ever, from the time Bob and I was in the prison together, and when I got out, I never stepped in a way. And he said that to me. He said, "You don't try to stop me with what I have to do." You understand? I know who the math teacher is, and there are many of you that he has responsibilities in your lives. This he is responsible for us, and we are responsible for him. Okay? And if you fell off, I don't know what to tell you, because the math teacher said that every single person on this planet at the age of 9 years old knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So it's not my responsibility. Only thing I'm responsible for is to warn you about the people, my experiences, and what I've been through, to help you understand what happened, because I was placed in a situation to bring you the information about it. Just like Baba came from where he came to tell us, well, not from where he came, we know where the math teacher came from, but just like the math teacher came to tell us and warn us, I'm not the warner. I don't claim to be anything. I'm just like you all. I come from the world, okay? I smoked weed, I hung out. You understand? I'm not a beer drinker. I'm never a drinker. But you know, I hung out in the skating ring like it was my second home, you know? And I've done bad things. You know, I never hurt anyone. I try my best to never hurt anyone. You understand? I always try to be loyal, because I never, you know, you out there in the world and you getting money and you hustling. You don't want to piss the wrong person off, because you ain't gonna see it coming. So I always try to respect the rules and regulations, so that way I don't have to worry about somebody running up on me trying to cut my face. Or because let me tell you something, the land of Nod, meaning in the world where we live it now, is the land of Nod, okay? And those people are wicked and they don't care. Okay, I got cousins, man. I could tell y'all some stories of some things that I've seen in my life, some real stuff. All right. So now, when I left the community, right, when I got to my brother's house, because my mother, I had lost contact with my mom. She moved to another borough, right? And I had lost contact with her. And my best friend Sharon was who I was at her house first, and then I got in contact with no, I got in contact with my brother, and then from my brother's house, because him and his wife, they were newlyweds, and I felt like I was intruding. He was laughing that I had a veil, you know, family, making jokes and stuff like that and everything, you know. And I love my family, I love my brother, I understand it, but I was like, I'd rather have been with my friend Sharon. She was pregnant, you know, she gave me the key to her apartment, and, you know, I cleaned and stuff like that and everything. And I had I felt safe there with her, but I knew where I belonged. But when I left and I went to my brother's house, there was a black dog waiting for me. A evil black dog. It was growling. And the ends, the part of the pupil was red. And on the side of the dog, it looked like it had got hit by a car. It had blood on it, and it let me see it. And it was so wicked and so evil, but it couldn't touch me. But it looked like if I will chew your freaking head off. I had never been so scared in my life. I was like, I gotta get back home. Oh no. It was crazy, y'all. It was crazy. So these beings and these people, they're not, some of them, they work for that being or whatever that was in that dog. There are people in this tribe, I promise you, they work for them. And they're very good at attacking you. You understand? Because if y'all ever watched the movie The Exorcist, right? And I sat in my house and watched it several times, because Baba said that movie was real, and it was about the Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan was the president that made worshiping Satan legal. You see? And in the movie, he was upstairs in the attic playing with a Ouija board by himself. And then he kept drawing a dog with wings on it. So if you look at the gargoyles, those dogs with the wings, Baba said that Jan, the vice master of the jinn, comes in the form of black dogs. You understand? So we dealing with some serious serious spiritual, wicked, evil energies, family. And these wicked energies have attacked me. So now, when I first got in contact with the lady in Kenya, and she had a group of people there, and I was telling them, look, I need some help, man. I don't know what's going on, but these people trying to hurt me. And they said, what's the matter? And I said, I got a lot of enemies. They said, oh, you blessed. They all said it. I said, what? Blessed? I'm trying to, look, these people trying to kill me. You understand? So because I expected, excuse me, my expectations of many members of the tribe was that some of you all would do something to help me help Baba. Because regardless of what I went through, I still didn't stop. You know, if you wake up every morning and you don't, and the master teacher's not on your mind, you don't care. No one in this tribe should wake up every morning and not think about, I wonder how Pops is doing. Because every day is a day he's away from us. You understand? And of course, we know it's written in the scriptures that he will be home and he'll be able to make everything clear to us. But like I said, I just wanted to talk to you all today and let y'all know that I sincerely apologize. I like to say that I'm sorry for anyone that I hurt intentionally or unintentionally, because I may have hurt your feelings and not even knew it. Or I may have said something to you and made you feel a certain kind of way, but you got to understand what a war does to you. When you're in a war and you come back, like those men that came back from Vietnam, they used to be crying in the living room. My best friend Simone, her father had grenades hanging on he had real grenades hanging on nails in his house around the wall. And I looked and I said, are those grenades? And I'm thinking about it now, man. If I'd have known those were real sick. One day she told me, yeah, I was like, man, they could pull that and blow the whole freaking house up. And they was playing Marvin Gaye, What's Going On album. And his my best friend Simone, her father and all of them was sitting in there. And I was in a room with her. She had a little girl. And we was sitting in there talking. And they was in there crying and talking with each other. They was going through some stuff, man. And if you watch the movie, one of my favorite movies, Dead President. Dead Presidents. I love that movie, the soundtrack, everything. If you watch that movie, that guy, Lawrence Tate, when he came back from the war, he was bugging out. You understand? And so, of course, I wasn't in a war like that, but I was in a war similar to that with devils, demons, wizards, you know, evil women, and they kids too. You understand? Attacking me. Freaking attacking me. Jealous. You know? And like I said, I it was making me angry because I was the type of woman that, you know, before I came back home in Wusabat, I didn't have problems with people disrespecting me at all. No one ever said anything to me like that or talked to me or did anything like that because they knew there was going to be repercussions. I don't burn candles and light No, I open up a can of whoop ass, and I was nice with my hands. Okay, I was raised by my mother because my mother's a foreigner. My parents are foreigners. These Americans are rude. You better whoop they ass. My mother said, listen, I'm not sending you to school to fight, but if any one of them put their hands on you, you better beat the living shit out of them. Excuse my language. I just want to express myself and be honest and tell you all how I was raised. And when I used to go to school, sure enough, here they come. Because my mother, you know, kept us nice. We had Buster Brown shoes. She always made sure she kept us looking nice going to school, you know. And some children didn't have those type of parents. So you coming in looking nice. And I didn't go to Catholic school. My parents couldn't afford to put me in a private school where we wore uniforms. So you wear your clothes. You understand? And everybody's wanting the new stuff, whatever come out. And you understand? And so it was always issues from the time I was in, not the first grade, the second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth. No, when I got to the ninth grade, I had no problems. 10th grade, I dropped out before I think I got to the 11th grade. That's when I dropped out and I took a test. And the school gave me a diploma in exchange for my high school equivalency. They gave it so that they could have a high graduation rate. Because I was cutting class. I started getting bored, started hanging out with, y'all know how it is, you know. And so sometimes I would, especially when I lived in Athens, the sisters that would act like they never did anything before. The same thing what they used to do in the Ansar law community. A lot of them, not everybody, but a lot of them, they act like they never lied, they never stole, never smoked a cigarette, never took a drag off of weed, never tasted alcohol before, you know. And cigarettes, oh, that was the worst. I smoked, first time I ever smoked a cigarette, I thought my whole freaking being was gonna die. I said, what the fuck is this? Oh, my cousin Kim. She used to sneak cigarette butts from my Aunt Joyce out of her ashtray. Come on, let's go in the bathroom. She opened the window and lighting a cigarette. And it's like we all was in the world. We all came out of the devil's world, all of us. None of us can say that we were saints and we was walking and living so good. That's not true. So it really disturbs me when devils take my picture. It doesn't bother me anymore. It's just disturbing, you know what I mean? For somebody to take my picture, a crackhead or a down low homosexual, like a man, like for instance, when this brother tried to make me his wife, right? His second mate. How dare you disrespect your wife and kids? That woman who sacrificed her life for you. Do you think what woman in her right mind, good woman, would want to be with a man that does that to his woman? Because you know the saying, if he does it to her, it ain't going to take long before he do it to you too. But see, it's a lot of people in this tribe that ain't dealing with a full deck. They got history of mental disorder and schizophrenia. And, you'll say to yourself, um, okay, a schizophrenia person can still have jobs, they still drive buses, they still work, they just hear voices, some more severe than others. We all have ancestors, right? But some of them are severe than others. And when they hear them voices, those voices don't tell them nice things to do. You understand? And like I said, a lot of them have pacts with the devil. So now that I understand what was going on, I'm not as angry as I used to be anymore. But as I'm talking in my mind, I have a photographic memory. So as I'm talking about what these people did and what happened, I'm reliving events and the games that they played and the lies that they told and the things, the lengths that they went to try to destroy my life. You understand? This is my life, and this is the master teacher's life. And so, and if any of you were to ever, like I said, if you're ever doing anything, don't talk about it. If you got a plan to help the master teacher, don't talk about it. Don't go public. It's too late for me because Baba made it public to the family. And they could front all they want to. When I was in Athens, Georgia, Baba wrote letters and mentioned my name several times. When Dana was reading Wakie's letter, every letter she read, my name was mentioned in the letter. Baba would make mention of me to the family and tell them that the ancestors, that Panatharu is with me. And I know, some people, they get a little envious, they get a little jealous about it. But trust me, you would not want to be, walk in my shoes. This is very serious. And you have to be extremely strong. You can't be weak-minded in this tribe. You have to put on thick skin and realize that this is the real deal. This is it. Everything in the book of Revelations, they talking about us and them. They saying that we came out with great sustenance. And they said they perished. And Baba said, because when Babylon the Great has fallen, Baba said they're going to sit back and cry. He was like, because their kingdom is fallen. It's the end of their 6,000 year rule. And I was in the next 6,000 year rule is going to rule in Wu Sabat. And the master teacher said, he ain't coming back no more. They're going to send somebody else. He said, because I'm not coming. You understand? And some of us, have to be taken up. We have to be taught. And then we have to come back. You understand? And Baba said we will have the gift like him. You understand? And so the devil's children, they're jealous of that. Because if you look at the crowns that's shaped like the Hindu hats, that's real gold. You understand? So, and the math teacher said that Reha Aketwi, that he met with them in a council, and they said that Risk is doing well. So if Risk is a home away from home, imagine a place where we're about to go. And of course they'll make it seem like it's not real, but it is. So I'm angry and I get upset and I get overly angry is because I was left here by extraterrestrials. They left me here. I don't know why. They left me here. Okay? So it's a feeling like imagining your moms leaving you with your cousins and they bad. Baby's kids. Because I got cousins like that, right? Your mother leave you with them. They got roaches. You know what I'm saying? You go to sleep. You putting a cover over your head. You making it like a knapsack so nothing won't crawl on you. But you love your family and you having fun with them. But every time somebody knock at the door, you thinking that's your mother. And it's not her. That feeling of wanting your parents and waiting for them, that's how I feel sometimes. Because I want to go home. I don't like it here. Some of y'all, I hate this freaking planet. And I don't like to say the word hate, but I do. I don't like it here. You understand? And then when your third eye is open, you could see people, you know, for you see them. And sometimes it ain't nice. And you can't go around saying stuff to people. You look at people and you can't just go around digesting everybody. You understand? You have to turn it off and just mind your business. You understand? Which is what I do my best at. And like I said, I try not to. When I was in Athens, I saw a lot, but some things wasn't any of my business. You understand? And there was some things that I felt it was my business. And sometimes I wrote Bob about it, and he was like, well, what does that got to do with you? And I'd be like, yeah, but this sister came to me and told me that this brother did this to her, and she's pretty. And I felt bad. I'm a woman. You understand? But for the most part, Bob is the same way. Bob don't be in people's biz personal, but when it's interrupting who we are and our rights and our rules, then it's a if you don't say something, like I said, we're responsible. You are responsible. You can't. It's like just like how Tashak Malik had that brother named I forgot his name, Taj Nahal, I think, whatever his name is, smoking weed in front of children at a balloon ceremony. And while he's standing right there, and they all standing there, turning our doctrine and turning our way of life into a watered down religion, like the Sunni Muslims did with Al Islam, you know? So, and the Ahmadiyya Muslims and all those other Shiite Muslims, they turned Al Islam, a pristine way of life and way to live, into some freaking watered down. I'm telling you, when I left the community, the Ansarullah community, and I used to go in the store, the Arab stores, you know how they had the stores on the corner? Now they calling them bodegas. That's the corner store, okay? You go in the store and you see Arabs playing the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله, and they smoking a cigarette. And you like, yo, you sitting up here listening to a spiritual thing and you playing the Quran. I used to get so mad at them. I can't stand them Arabs. They are the worst. They're worse than the freaking Ku Klux Klan. And Bobby used to tell us about them back in the days. He used to say, they call us Zinjis. They're freaking racist, man. They're worse than the Celtics because they're the ones who use the Moors to sell us over. Well, I don't got to preach to the choir. Y'all know the story. You understand? But I just wanted to come today to talk to y'all to say thank you. Let me see how many people on here. I can't see without my glasses. Let me see. I feel old. So, anyway, I wanted to say thank you for those of you who've been helping, and those of you, there's so many of you who care about Baba, and I know he feels blessed as a man incarcerated for so many years and still have so many people that love him. He said that this case was created so that the world would know who he is. and the world is going to find out. And by the way, Dale Elaine Brown, aka Waukee, yeah, she parked her car on a hill, and when she got out, I guess she thought she parked it, maybe it was in neutral, and it backed up and ran her over. So I don't know if it ran over her face or whatever, but she got to have reconstructive surgery, and she's in a nursing home right now. See, that's that karma coming. And I'm pretty sure it's a whole lot of them that's just going through it. They sick. They got all kinds of stuff going on with them because, you know, this is the master of heaven and earth. They coming to save their children. They're coming to save and multiple amount of people, because in the book of Revelations it talks about the multitude of people, and John was saying, where did these people come from? They said they came from tribulations and going through things. They washed themselves clean in the blood of the Lamb. So it's a lot of people that's going to make it, because before I started going I came public on YouTube, I basically was fed up. You understand? And Baba wrote me and asked me. I sent him a picture, and in the picture I was like, and he was like, "What's the matter?" You know? And I said, "I'm tired." I said, "Why don't y'all blow this?" Well, that's not what really happened. I don't want to tell y'all everything because everything ain't your business. But the math teacher and I had a conversation, and he said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Why don't y'all just blow this place up? You know, like, let's go." And he said he laughed, he laughed, and he said, "We can't do that. There's so many people that we're going to save. There's lives that we're going to save." And I said, "Who?" Because I thought everybody, I didn't know that there were people that cared about Baba. I didn't feel like that. And I thought that many of you knew what I knew. But evidently, y'all didn't. And so now I told y'all. You understand? And everything, everybody that I put on there's not one person that I put on my wall that was a mistake. Not one. And there's others that I don't know about. Or there's others that I don't even care to talk about because it's a waste of time, waste of my energy. You feel me? So anyway, I'm getting ready to get off. I just wanted to spread some love. I wanted y'all to know that I had some really weird experiences. Let me tell y'all what happened to me another time. One day I was going skating with my friend. So I stopped at her mom's house. I was stopped at her house. She said, "Come to my house," and we was all there waiting to get ready. And her mother was having a card game. They was playing Bid Whiz, and there was another table. They was gambling. They had money, and she was making food and drinks and stuff. So I was sitting in there and everything. And then this guy came in. He had on a robe, and he was like, and he just came in and said, "The Lord's sheep that went astray." So in my mind, I was like, I looked, because I was like, I don't know that dude. He had salt and pepper hair. It was a short little afro. He had a silk robe on. He had came from downstairs. It was an apartment building. He lived on one of the floors, and he came up. And then another girl said, "Leave that girl alone, Chris." His name was Chris. He said, "Yeah, my name is Christopher Alexander." He was naming all these wicked, evil names of these leaders. He was naming all them names. So in my mind, I was like, yeah, right. And then he said, "Oh yeah, it's real." Everything I thought about in my mind that I said against, he said it was real. And then she said, "Nigga, who you think you is?" He said, "The devil." That's what he said. Now I don't know if that was actually him. You understand? And I was like, I ain't gonna be going to my next time we go skating. I was like, I'm not going to her house no more. I'm not going to her house, you know. But that right there let me know that this ain't nothing to play with. And like I said, now that I'm back home again, there's nothing could take me out of my way of life. This is the way. If you want to be saved, if you want to be safe, this is the way. And you can't leave, stay out there and for too long. And then when Baba come home, all of a sudden jump back in, because it's like this. It's just like with my plants, right, that I got here. I'm watering them, and then I see some of the bad leaves, right? And when you pull on them, some of them they're not corrupt enough yet. They're not weak enough yet, because if you pull on them too tight, You'll destroy, you'll hurt other ones that are healthy. You understand? So it's just like in the book of Matthew when they talk about the tares and the wheat. And then he said, well, let's separate them. They said, no, no, no. Let's wait till harvest time and let's get them out. Because if you pull them out now, you'll take some of ours with you. So it's a way, it's a scientific, it's a science to all of this in the way that it's done. And the way that the master teacher is doing it by sacrificing himself and being in there, all these people that fell off, I'm telling you, man, there's so many people that passed away, that left, and so many people that are gone, some of them on drugs. They could front all they want to and come around y'all and act like they eat garbage. They don't eat properly. You know what I'm saying? They attack me and they haven't done anything, so that anger that I have and the frustration that I have for a lot of these people, they had no right to do what they did to the master teacher, and they had no right to do what they did to me. I've done nothing to these people. And I'm exposing them because of what they did to me and what they did to Panababi Anu. And like I said, I would have never knew had I not followed the instructions of the master. And there were things that I should have just stuck with. And I'm seeing now what Baba was trying to do. But Baba's a master. He don't explain nothing. He just say, listen, I need you to do this, and you just follow instructions, and then eventually it'll all make sense. You know, the master teacher is so ahead of his time that he can tell you something and you ain't gonna get it till years later. You like, oh man, I messed up. you know? So anyway, I just wanted to come on here and tell y'all to like and subscribe. Jacob York is up next. I got the flyer coming out. I want to thank you all for those of you who work to help me. I'm working on myself. I'm getting better. And like I said, I suffer from PTSD. I've been through a lot. And I get flashbacks, and I'm always thinking somebody out to get me. And I'm always on my guard now more than ever because I just can't of course I can relax in my home. I can pray and get my protection from my ancestors and do that. But at the same time, you know how they say, when you have your camel, tie it up. You understand? Don't think that just because it's with you every day and you riding it, this your pet and you feed it, it's going to be there. It can just get up and you come home and it's gone. So, or your horse, you understand? So I just wanted to say thank you to all Musyar, Tawuhkum, for your love. Tawuhkum, thank you so much for helping me. I won't forget any of you. I don't think I'm better than any of you. I'm not an arrogant woman. But like I said, sometimes you could feel like, I don't know, things can take place to make you feel like nobody cares and you're the only one that's there. And that's not true. There are so many people in this world that are studying, they're reading, they're speaking the language, and they're staying safe until the master comes home. And just like they have a protection over me, they have a protection over them as well. So there are many of you that are under the protection of the master. And if you are someone that is helping me, don't let people know that you help me. Because as soon as they find out that you helping me, you going to get attacked. You understand? And they'll try to play with you, play mind games, say, so how you feel about Tabitjet? What's going on? Keep your thoughts to yourself. You understand? And if you think that I'm fake and I'm lying, and it's gonna all come to the head. You understand? Because you can't keep playing games, and it I'm telling you, as a person that used to hustle and get money, when you lie and you scheme and you play games, it eventually catches up with you. You understand? And I know I've said so many times that Baba would be home. Baba would be home. I know, but I thought because of what I did that he was. Like I said, I didn't know that these people was doing what they do because, like the master teacher said, extraterrestrials, they step in, but there's certain rules and regulations. There's a line. There's red tape that has to be cut across, and things have to be voted on and stuff like that. You just can't step in, and we have to be smart enough to remember who the master teacher is. He's Melchizedek. He's the tester, and we all are being tested, each and every one of us, all of us. Some I don't know, I guess we all got the same test, and we all gotta work together to bring him out. And hopefully, spiritually, I feel that happening. I feel that happening. And I don't want to get too deep into it. But me, like I said, every morning when you get up and your feet hit that floor, carpet, whatever, the first thing that should come on your mind is I wonder how Bob is doing. Or if you sitting reading, and we should be thinking about him all the time, wondering how does he look, how does he feel. You understand him, where's he at? Is he with us? Did they take him up and leave another clone there? You just never know. And I'm not saying that because I already know how some people are. They don't think realistically. You understand? They just don't think realistically. You understand? And so I also wanted to say to the brother Kermit D. Nolans, if you're listening, I knew you was a spy all along. And all I want to know is why, brother? Why would you work for the other side against the master? You know who Baba is. Y'all read the doctrine. Why y'all working for these people? What kind of, why don't you quit and start your own business or something? Like, why would y'all work for the devil against your race? You was a spy, man. You was a freaking spy. And the brother Damon Lovey, you was a freaking devil too, man. Y'all some... Let me stop thinking about them because I didn't want to come on here with that. You understand? If I have the any and I don't even want to talk about them no more. They're the past. And those of you who walk with the master, and those of you who staying on path, we are his future. All those people are his past. I don't care how many kids they got. I don't care how many pictures they post. That was 23 years ago. Remember that, okay? It's all about now. Who is here now? Here and now, okay? We're in the hereafter. That was then. We are his future, and they are his past, okay? And don't let them intimidate you and make you feel like there's somebody special, like Seneb and all of them. They're all devils, man, all of them, And I get disappointed when I see them in Egypt and all this other stuff. It's like, come on, man. Y'all couldn't wait for Baba to come out. And if you was going to do a trip, you should have did it with your children. You should have took the children on a trip or a journey to Egypt. Y'all should have got money together and took them there and did things to make them love who we are. Because y'all, a lot of y'all children, Baba said y'all gave them over to the devil. Y'all hand your children over to the devil. You don't set examples and you make them not want to be Sabean. You make them not want to be a part of our culture. And it's sad, But it is what it is. Hopefully when a master teacher come home, hopefully they're not, eating garbage. They're not drinking and smoking and doing drugs, and that they're taking care of themselves. And then when a master teacher come home, they can, get in where they can fit in. So anyway, I'm going to end this call. And again, I want to say thank you to all of you who helped me. I want to say apologize to anybody I've ever offended. And sometimes people, they ask me the stupidest things. They say stuff like, can you send me a list of all the movies? And I ain't going to say your name in case she's listening or she may see this video. And I'm like, yo. And then the thing is, the timing and what I'm doing, I'm like, yo, I don't got no time to be researching. No, you don't know anybody else in the tribe to get this information from? You reaching out to me to ask me. I'm not your freaking office. You understand? And the thing is, I do so much. Well, we all do a lot for each other. You understand? It's like, come on. That really pissed me off. Like, where's your mind at? Don't ask me stupid questions like that. Do I have this and I don't have all of those things. And if I did have it, I'm not looking for it. Go find somebody else to do it. That's like me. You know how I feel? I feel like we in school. I come to school every day. Here come the nigga that didn't do their homework, or they cut class for a couple of days. They coming and wanting to sit next to you because the teacher say, all right, everybody, close your books, put them in a desk. We having a surprise test. Now this nigga want to run and sit next to you so they could cheat off your paper. That's how it makes me feel. Stop cheating off my paper and do your freaking homework. Anyway, Nafir Lalutz, Or Nafir Baka. That's not Nafir. Nafir Zamut. It used to be Baka. And y'all have a nice shadow. And I hope that these days to come, we're in the summer solstice. I think we have 9 days to fast. Yeah, we do. We have a 9-day fast coming up. I'm gonna do that. I'm excited. I got me a juicer now, so I can make me some good drinks and stuff like that. And after the day 4, it gets easy. And just don't count the days. Just I don't know. So, anyway, family, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you all for your blessings. Thank you all for helping me. I appreciate all of you, and I pray that this is his last year in there. And and like I said, you'll see what's real from what's fake very soon. All right, Wadu, Nafir Lalutz, Nafir Zamutz, and Wadu. How do I end this? Oh.